In this segment, we're going to talk about a pump station along with the pump and the controls. The tools you need will be a sludge judge to check the sludge in the bottom of the pump station, pliers, side cutters, an amp meter, screwdriver, electric screwdriver, cordless screwdriver, hand sanitizer, rubber gloves, and zip ties to put things back together, and an iPad or a notebook to write down your results. First step is to locate the pump station, access the lid to make sure all pump stations the lid should be to the surface or above. So we'll remove the lid. What we'll do is, first thing we'll do is physically look at the system to make sure that everything is in place. There hasn't been any infiltration through the risers or through the outlet where the pipe is leaving the tank and going up to the field. Make sure the duct plug is in place to keep the gas is going through the electrical conduit. Make sure that there's no leaks. We can turn the pump on momentarily just to make sure that we don't have any leaks, and make sure that the weep hole for it to drain back operates. As you can see, the weep hole is working. The air relief valve actually worked. So when the pump kicked on, it didn't airlock. It opens up, lets all the air out, and then pushes the water down through and back into the field. The most important thing is the air relief valve and the weep hole, so they'll drain back and don't freeze in cold temperatures. Now what we need to do is check and make sure that there's no solids built up in the bottom of this. If there is, we'll have to pump it and get the solids out of the system. And in this situation, we have no solids in the bottom of this pump tank. First thing we'll do is find our disconnect panel. We'll open it. As you can see, pull the breaker out, set it on top, shut this. This has to be within 50 feet of our control panel so we can watch and make sure no one turns it on or plugs it back in. Now what we'll do is we'll check our control panel, make sure all the wires are tight, we have no infestation of mice or insects. As we just visually look at it, everything seems to be fine. And now all we're going to do is double check, make sure all the screws are all tight. There, we got a loose one. We'll make sure all the plug-ins are tight, all secure, then we'll turn the electric back on and go through the control panel. What we're checking on this control panel to make sure that everything is in proper working order, and how many times the pump is run, how many cycles, how long it's run, how much water has gone through the system. You can check this with the meter in the house and how many gallons is being pumped out per cycle. Right now we have 9.30 inches of water above the air bell. The elapsed time for the pump run is 24 hours, 4 minutes and 16 seconds. Cycle times is 420. In this situation, we're pumping approximately 70 gallons out per cycle. So you multiply 70 gallons times 421, that's how many gallons of water has went out through the system. If the meter shows that we've run 3,000 gallons, and this shows that we've run 4,000 gallons. What this is telling us is we need to check for infiltration in the system to make sure that we're not getting any water coming in from the ground or through the risers or through the lids. The next step is high level counts. The factory setting was 6. So far we haven't had any high level counts, and the depth is still at 9.30. Now what we'll do, since we have the control panel open, we'll kick the pump on and read what the amps are. We're pulling 3.5 amps, which is in perfect condition. Now what we'll do is we'll close the lid, make sure the alarm works. In this panel, you can just touch it twice. We got a visual and an audio, as you can hear. Now what we'll do is we'll remove the pump to check the impeller in it to make sure it's still tight, make sure that there's no debris stuck into the screens. The nice thing about quick disconnects, you don't have to cut anything. You can properly service the system completely. We'll visually look at the underneath side of it. There's no debris on it. Now what we'll do is we'll just hose it down, make sure we don't see anything out of the ordinary. Now what we'll do after cleaning it, we'll reset the pump. Now what we'll do is check and make sure the air relief valve works and make sure there's no debris in there. Now we'll set the pump and hook it back up. In some cases, there'll be a rubber gasket here or here. Make sure that doesn't fall out when you pull your pump apart. Now what we need to do is kick the pump on, make sure that all the fittings are still watertight, not leaking. The air relief valve works. The weep hole is draining out like it's supposed to be. Make sure your rope is secure, not going to fall down. If necessary, zip tie it. Put your lid back on, secure it, make all of your notes, make sure your area is cleaned up, and that will conclude this part of the pump station.